genre.
Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
I'm Scott Corelli.
And joining us on the show today, we have a very special guest, Crystal Beth.
Hi, that's me.
Yeah, that's you. So today on the show, we'll be discussing Time of the Angels, Flesh and Stone, the Weeping Angels two-parter, from the 11th Doctor's first season, his fourth story.
Mm-hmm. So this story, there's not a whole lot of background and stuff on this. I guess for starters, this is directed by Adam Smith, who also directed the season premiere, The 11th Hour. This is written by Stephen Moffat, who also wrote that, showrunner Stephen Moffat. So this story, I guess the main thing that's interesting about it is that it was the first story of the 11th Doctor that was shot. And if you can remember all the way back to 2009 when they were shooting this story, this was also the story that they were shooting when the 11th Doctor's costume was leaked by paparazzi. They were Matt Smith and Karen Gillan were just sort of like sitting outside of her trailer together, and paparazzi snapped some pics of his costume, and so it got leaked quite a bit early before an actual like official image of his costume came out. So that's kind of like the biggest thing. As far as the Weeping Angels of it all, I guess Moffat, when he was given reins on the show, he actually, it's so funny because one of the things that we talk about with Stephen Moffat a lot in the normal show, when we're not just sort of like going back and looking at these, now that we're like kind of almost looking at his tenure in past tense at this point,
which is weird.
Yeah, which is super weird. But one of the things that we always talk about with Moffat is that when he doesn't have time to write, his stories are garbage. And the longer that he has to write, the better his episodes are. Mm-hmm. And that's why all of his episodes, like literally all of them during the Russell T Davies era, all four of them are just drop dead classics, right? Is because he had a whole year to write those stories because he wasn't show running the show anymore. But he found out that he was going to be the new showrunner 3 years before the show got picked up. And so he actually wrote the 11th Hour in January of 2008. And then these two episodes he finished. These were like, he wrote those and then wrote these. And these two episodes took him from January 2008 until February 2009.
Wow.
That's relatable.
He took a whole year to write these two episodes, which is
you could
crazy.
tell.
Yeah. But and he was kind of coming at it as he wanted to bring back the Weeping Angels.
Got to have my babies. Can't forget about my babies.
Oh my gosh, that sounded like a sound bite. Like you had a soundboard. It scared me. I was like, ah!
Yeah. Nick's Stephen Moffat impression is legendary on this show. He wanted to bring him back because people liked them, but they always had lots of questions about them and where they came from and what else they do, like what's their thing other than this. And a lot of them wanted to see the Doctor actually go up against the Weeping Angels because, when you look at Blink, the Doctor has a very, very small part and doesn't really do anything firsthand. With the Weeping Angels. And so to do this, to sort of tackle it, because he was afraid of doing a sequel, he was afraid of bringing them back, which in retrospect is like the deepest of irony.
Yeah.
But because he just kept bringing them back. But just like the franchise that he based his sequel on, it was also a law of diminishing returns because he looked at Blink and thought, well, Blink is sort of like Alien because it's small scale and claustrophobic. So he's like, I'll write this and make it Aliens. And he did.
Longer?
I think, longer and more of them. Cause there's only 4 in the original and there's like lots and lots in this one. So he tried to do like an Aliens thing, plus like the military stuff and all of that. So, that's what he was going for. And then it's funny because every time the Weeping Angels come back, it just keeps getting worse.
A little bit worse.
And
I guess that makes, is it Angels Take Manhattan? Is that the next one? Is that the third one after this?
Yeah. Which in retrospect is about as good as it sounds.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Just now hearing it like
is
that.
that really the third time that they come back? It feels like.
I mean, I think they have like a minor bit maybe in something like where they just show up for a scene.
They're in Pandorica, I think, right?
Maybe
I don't.
Or
I
Big
know
Bang.
they're definitely in Time of the Doctor because they're in the snow outside of Christmas Town or whatever. But anyway.
Oh man.
So anyway, this is the second time the Angels are here. It's based on Aliens. I think that's basically it. This is there's only 2 instances of the Doctor's first story not being his first story. And that's it's this time and it's the 5th Doctor. Who shot Ford of Doomsday before he ended up shooting Castrovalva, his first story.
Wow.
Castrovalva.
Yeah. And this story ran long. The production side of this ran long, and it took them a long time to get the TARDIS set finished. So the TARDIS stuff was last, and then because it was the same director on 11th Hour, which they shot right after this story, they shot all of the TARDIS stuff, the rest of the TARDIS stuff in this story while they were shooting 11th Hour, because 11th Hour thankfully ran a little short. So the production time period, whatever. So they, cooked the books.
It all worked out.
Made that all work out. Yeah.
Do you happen to know if this director directed the tail bit of the David End of Time?
No, I don't think so. I think that was what's his face? Who's that director? The one that did End of Time?
Is it Eros Lyn?
Yeah, Eros Lyn.
Yeah,
that would have been Eros Lyn.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the first instance of the 11th Doctor was there, but then this was like the first story that Matt Smith did, and they wanted him to basically do a story where he could be the Doctor and figure the Doctor out, so that when they shoot the 11th Hour, he could just come in swinging.
Mm-hmm.
That's a smart
and
way to do it.
Be fully formed and yeah, no questions. And it's so funny because, sort of transitioning out of the background stuff, you watch this and you can tell, because like one of the things that you always hear about, Matt Smith in like early interviews is that, he watched all of the Russell T Davies era and then was given like a handful of stories from each classic Doctor so that he could sort of figure out what kind of Doctor he wanted to be. And the Doctor that he really focused on was Patrick Troughton. And you can tell watching this story that he's sort of emulating Patrick Troughton. More so, I think, in this story than in other ones when he sort of gets a handle on himself.
Mhm.
It was like he was using a Patrick Troughton impression to sort of like as a doctor cheat sheet, sort of, as he was like...
That was his entry point.
Right. As he was like figuring out the role. And so it was really interesting watching this, knowing that this was the first thing that he shot, because you could see him figuring it out. And it was that made this... this made what I think is already a pretty fun story, even better, I think. So.
Yeah, this episode specifically was the first one where I was like, okay, he can stay. Because I was so sad when David Tennant left. I was like, how can they replace my boyfriend? How can they do it? It's physically impossible. No one can do it. So when Matt Smith came on, I was like, good luck. And the first 3 episodes, I was like, see, you're not as good. And then these 2, I was like, God damn it. I like you. And he was the second Doctor I cosplayed as, too. I did Fem 11. But I was so upset. And then this one, I was like, this is cool. This is good. I'm very happy here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, okay, so David Tennant's my boyfriend, but like Matt Smith's totally a really good friend of mine.
Yeah. Okay, so starting at the beginning, I don't know if I hate it or love it, but Moffat really takes a hard left turn on River.
Yeah.
Because the River that we met in Silence of the Library is just sort of like a chill, like just a real chill, just,
kind of an Ellie Sadler type.
Yeah, right. And just not super criminal or whatever the River is in the beginning of this. I was like, I remember at the time just being like, wait, what? Like, how is this the same person? This is so weird.
Yeah, and it's even weirder that the same person is writing, because, from my perspective, if I were sitting down and watching this episode not knowing who wrote it, it's almost like another writer handling River's song.
Yeah.
It would be like if you go to see Last Jedi and the first scene, Rey has like hallucinogenic lipstick. It would just be like, wait, what? Like, and love and hate is apropos, Scott, because I felt both of those emotions simultaneously while watching a lot of this episode more than the one after this. But yeah, like God, what a series of strong decisions this episode is making about the show.
It was like, I remember the exact feeling I had when I was watching it, because the first time I saw River's song, I was like, oh my God, she is cool as hell. And I loved her. And then as soon as this episode started, it jarred me a little bit, because I was like, hey, relax. Just take a breath. And in my opinion, it felt like the writer was like, okay, well, maybe Moffat, obviously, maybe we should, I liked what I did there, but I want to change it completely. And I realized that I actually wanted to be like this. And instead of kind of fading in, he's like, well, it's been a couple episodes. Hopefully no one remembers. This is what she's like now. And then I rationalized it in my brain as, okay, so a lot of time has gone by. We don't know what her timeline is. Maybe she changed a lot, because I'm different than I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So I was like, maybe she had to get a little more bullheaded and like, hey. And that is, but I guess is what happens when you are in a criminal mastermind in prison, I suppose. But that was how I justified it to myself.
Yeah, relax is a good word. These two-parters, this has no chill. Yeah. The story has no chill.
I think that's probably what he was going for, is that this is a younger version of River than we saw, and so she's, just a little more crazy than
she's got that
sort
wanderlust.
of chill archaeologist that we met in Silence of the Library. But then I don't think that he ever really gets back to that River, because
he has so much. He clearly has so much fun writing this version of River that this is just who River becomes.
Well,
right.
I mean, because she's moving backwards, so she's getting younger. So like she's gonna be
Right.
more, not like she's gonna have less chill.
Yeah.
As
Well,
more
but
energy.
but we do see her immediately before Silence of the Library in Husbands of River Song,
Oh yeah.
and she's as like
I know. I forgot
crazy
about it too.
in that, arguably crazier. She decapitates a man and puts him on a robot.
I actually I enjoy the whole femme fatale aesthetic of the opener because I choose to read it as she's putting on an act for this because she's trying to get information. I also really like her shoes, so there's that. But
It's like this is the Catwoman to her Selena Kyle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she
Okay,
was
so I have a
also,
question.
Like,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say maybe she's also at the end. She was like, "Oh, I'm tired. This is too much. I'm tired." That's why she was a little more subdued.
I'm gonna wear a spacesuit the whole time.
Those
You
are
never
heavy.
know what'll happen.
I'll do my hair, but spacesuit the whole time.
So I have a question for you, Cass.
Yes.
Something that I noticed while watching this is that there's that beat at the end where the Tux guy sort of like corners her by the airlock as she's like giving coordinates for the doctor to show up. Which, by the way, I love that trope because I love that this show does, like, it doesn't always do this. Like, it depends on who's writing it, and how comfortable they are with time travel. But I do love it when people use time travel and are aware of the fact that there's no hurry to do anything when you have a time machine. And so, like, she puts these coordinates on this thing and just like, it's just like, yeah, he'll find it at some point eventually. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know when or where he's going to find it or how. She just knows at some point he'll come across this thing and then he'll be able to come here and save me. I love that. I love that as a time travel technique, narrative technique.
It's the work of someone who is very confident in the world that he's writing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But when she has her back to that airlock,
Yeah.
and she tells the guy, you might need to find something to hang on to. Is that her quoting the Fifth Doctor?
Well, no, she says it's what she told him while they were dancing. earlier that
I
night.
know that. I know that, Nick.
You think that was a quote?
Because it's the bit from oh my god, it just dropped out of my head. I keep wanting to say Castrovalva. Caves of Androzani, when he's about to crash the ship and he's telling the people you might need something to hang on to.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an exact quote, but if that is
It is definitely an exact quote because remember I edited that the reason that it stuck out to me is because I edited that trailer for a editing class of the Caves of Androzani thing to the 11th Doctor theme music, which kicks in right when she says that, and then I was like, what? Like, it just like it all like clicked in my brain where I was like, wait a minute.
I think that's that has to be an Easter egg.
That's really
and
cool.
it has to be on purpose because there are so many other ways to say hang on to something, and that is such a specific way that doesn't exactly roll off your tongue naturally.
Right.
That is, and I didn't even notice. I haven't seen the old Doctor Who, so just the fact that it's that close, I'm like, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that Stephen Moffat's like, oh, old Doctor Who is garbage, but then he like references it constantly.
Does he do that?
Yeah,
for
well,
diehards?
I think he lovingly refers to it as garbage.
Okay.
Where he's just like, it's garbage. I mean, I love it, but it is garbage.
I mean,
like,
you
the
know,
sets were
to
made
be
from garbage bags. Like, it's literal garbage.
In the sake of fairness, I mean, we've been doing that for the past like 6 months.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But I mean, he loves the Fifth Doctor because he wrote that the thing where the time crash where the 10th Doctor and the Fifth Doctor meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Fifth Doctor is his favorite Doctor.
So yeah,
I don't know.
it must be. It's been way too long since I've seen Caves.
And it's going to be a really long time before we get to it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well. So can I admit something that I'm really embarrassed by?
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So I have seen this story, I mean, probably a half dozen times at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's
since
only
it
6.
aired.
Is that what you're embarrassed about?
Something? No.
That's
This is the first time that I've ever watched this and realized that the ship that is in the crash site is the ship that she was on.
Yeah.
Never
Oh my
ever
God.
connected those two things in my head. I just thought that was an unrelated cold open thing.
Oh, well,
And-
Scott, if it makes you feel better, I didn't know that either.
Oh, okay.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm being, but also maybe be a little bit more embarrassed because you're much more versed in Doctor Who than I am.
Oh, all right.
So still feel terrible about yourself, okay? But
It's
I'm with
ultimately
you.
up
I
to
do.
you.
That's so cool. I love when they do stuff like that, and I love picking up on that stuff late too, because you allow yourself to still have a mind explosion over something you've seen 100 times.
Yeah, I was just like I was watching this and like, I don't know, a lot of things in this story just started making a lot more sense. I've always liked this story
Oh my
fine.
God.
I've never loved it, but I liked it a lot more this time because I was like, I don't know, I was just understanding the plot better, I guess, this time. I'm not sure. I don't know. I was like awake this time. I'm not sure. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, that's really funny.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. I'm a disappointment.
No, I'm trying. I know I do that all the time, and I'm trying to think of an example, but now I'm drawing a blank on that. Because I feel like I do that a lot. I feel like I do that a lot on Shaun of the Dead.
Well, there's so much in that.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So I will say. All right. So oh right. What was? Is it? Yeah, that's right. Angels Take Manhattan. That's Amy's last story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rory's.
And Rory's.
Bless him.
Rory has a lot of last stories. He dies
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
Poor guy. He just
yeah.
wants to be in love and be married and chill out, and he's just dies all the time.
So, Angels Take Manhattan is a really not good story. However, and I don't think this story makes Angels Take Manhattan better, but I do think Angels Take Manhattan does, to a certain extent, make this story better. Because the fact that Amy, air quote, dies from Weeping Angels, I mean, she dies from living to death, but the fact that the angels are the ones that take her out, like all of her interactions with the angels in this story, like there was just a little something,
More weight.
Yeah, added to it that I was like, oh, I kind of like that. I do like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wish. I don't know. I mean, like Angels in Manhattan just occupies so little of my memory that I can't even admit that was on my mind watching these two.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
but you're right. You're totally right.
I will say
I had to watch Angels Take Manhattan twice because the first time I couldn't focus on it. Like I couldn't watch it without doing a million other things, and I was like, wait, Amy's gone? Like I had no clue, and I was like, oh gosh, I have to watch this again. And then the second time, I still couldn't focus. I don't know what it was about it that I just couldn't stick with me.
It's
But
bad.
I love anything with the Weeping Angels.
I will say that someone who has like thoroughly erased that episode from my memory. Revisiting
the Statue of
this-
Liberty is a Weeping Angel cast.
I know. I don't think about it too much because then I get irrationally angry. But I've always really liked this two-parter. I liked the first half more than the second half, but the second half didn't bother me as much this time. And maybe it's because we're getting to the end of the crazy Moffat era, but what felt like a Deus Ex Machina to me the first time and the second time and the third time didn't feel like that so much this time. So I don't know. It was, but this episode, as soon as the angels move, like as soon as you see them move in the second one, is when I'm like, I don't care about these angels anymore because they're not scary.
Yeah.
It's like seeing the monster, like I don't. Once you see what the monster looks like, once you get a good look at it, it's not scary anymore.
Yeah.
It's
always scarier in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like the aliens aren't scary in Aliens. It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It becomes like, oh, it's a race against time. But in Alien, it's pure dread.
And but isn't that what they were going for with this?
I guess it makes
sense. Yeah, I mean, it's arguable.
Yeah.
I'm scared
But
of
I mean, there are also people. But then there are people who are like, Aliens is half the movie that Alien is.
Yeah. There has to be. We must be forgetting another Angel episode, right?
Well, the Weeping Angels.
Oh my
it's
God,
this
I
one
don't
blank.
even know.
Angels Take Manhattan. The God Complex.
The Great Angel Caper.
No, God
Wait,
Complex.
You're in the God Complex?
No, they don't have angels in there.
They don't have angels in the God Complex.
No.
That's the
Hold on,
only
everyone. I'm on the
other
TARDIS
one
wiki.
I remember.
Appearances.
Hey.
I know. The God Complex they appear in. The Angels Take Manhattan.
They're in one of the rooms, one of the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not really in it, but
No, they're
it's not like an episode about them.
they're there, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
they're like, but they all freak out, and then they're like, ah! That's fake.
And then they appear in Hellbent, and of course, guys, they appear in the episode of Class.
Oh my God.
The eighth and final episode, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so they are in. All right, so it is. So after this, the next time they're in is Angels Take Manhattan, the Alien Resurrection of the Angels episodes.
We skip Alien 3, huh?
Well, yeah, because that episode isn't like depressing,
Yeah, and it's not a metaphor for like the AIDS epidemic.
right? Yeah.
Well, here we go. This is Alien, and then Flesh and Stone can be Alien 3, and then Angels Take Manhattan is the Alien Resurrection.
That works. Yeah, because it ends with them falling into their doom, the way that Sigourney Weaver.
I like it.
Yeah, no, that checks out. Nick, good work.
Boom.
Your work here is done, my friend.
Cash the check.
So I'm I don't know. I really like that this is it starts as a single angel on a ship and then it like escapes. Like I love that in part 1 it's really like, okay, that we have to find this one angel because it's
an
horrifying.
angel.
Yeah, it's horrifying. And also, I as sort of a minor story that Blink is, not in like the pantheon of Doctor Who stories, it's like kind of a major one. But
in the context of season 3.
Just in the context of the show, like the actual world of the show, it's a pretty like minor story because like the Doctor's barely even in it. So it is interesting that like there's like this huge military operation to like go get this Weeping Angel. It's kind of a big leap, but it's also, sort of that he's trying to pull on those aliens threads and make a James Cameron movie, which fair. But I love that this starts as like one angel on the loose and they have to find him in this like sort of pantheon place where there's all these statues and stuff everywhere. So you're just like, any of these statues could be the angel. We don't know where the angel is. It's like fitting into like in between all these statues. And then that revelation when they're like, wait, the people on this planet have 2 heads.
Yeah.
Oh no. That was good. It's cool that like the angel had like an ulterior motive of like kind of going home. He was like, yeah, I'm going to crash this ship and save all my buddies. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's I like that, but you never, because the angels don't have characters, you know?
Uh-huh.
And so like, I think it's interesting that you have to, sort of, extrapolate what the weeping angels are doing and wanting, because they don't move around. They don't have character. They're just statues.
Yeah,
I don't know.
this episode, when I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on with the angels, it was really confusing to me. Just because I was like, okay, what exactly are they doing and what do they want? I was like, okay, so they want their bodies because I was like, they're hungry? And I was like, wait, no, but they're feeding on the ship. So like, why? I know they just don't like the people, but like, if they're already eating, why do they need them? I was like, so they're just bad? And I was trying to wrap my head around that because the way they're described in Blank is just that they're, malicious little beasties, and I loved that. And this time it became such a big thing about them trying to like save each other and crashing a ship so they can save each other. And then I was like, were they on the ship? They weren't on the ship. They were there unless did they get there because no, the ship was there to feed and I had to watch this one a couple times to be like, oh, right. And then I had a friend who watched it with me the second time and explained everything, so I understood it more. But man, I was like, what do these angels want? And then the part with the pausing the video.
Yeah.
I couldn't wrap my mind around what happened there either. I was like, wait, so she just pauses it and it's not in her eye anymore, even though it was there and she can remember it. So technically she can still see it in her eye. Just pausing it on the break, that's enough. I was like, it should still be there. And it was still there. I had a lot of thoughts when I was watching this every time.
I like that this episode. I mean, the angels are really mysterious, and this episode starts answering questions about them. But it's also like posing more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that, even though that then becomes like later, because they have their own hotel. In
Hotel
in
for Angels.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So that's where things start going a little off the rails. But
yeah,
it's
when they're waiting for the Dr. Rory and Amy with like hats and canes at the bottom of the hotel.
Yeah, and no one's looking at the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, right. Like everyone's looking at the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. I still get excited to look for it. I've lived in New York City for 8 years now, and when I know I'm near the Statue of Liberty, I'm like, where is it? Can I see it? Is it there? And I work right next to it, and I look for it every day on my way to work, so there's no way. And especially with all the boats going by and everything, no.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I like that it answers some questions and poses some others. Even if that technique doesn't always work for Moffat in the future.
Sure.
But it works here, I think. So
yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's really interesting going back and watching these episodes again, like with context, like I don't know, or even just like the context of real life, like watching this now, knowing that both Matt Smith and Karen Gillan, like, oh, he's in The Crown now. Oh, she's in like Guardians and all these other things. So like they're not just.
Oh my God, Karen Gillan is just a small precious little child in this.
I know.
Yeah, she's so like she was so young and like kind of bratty in this
and pouty.
Yeah, and, like
she always pouted.
And pouty. Yeah, like her arms were crossed. She was like a teenage daughter on like a vacation.
I loved her by the end, but the first season, I was like, oh my gosh, because she was so like. Every other thing was a little pout or a little, or like looking out under her eyelashes and being all cutesy cute and not having her own ideas. Really, she was just like, well, she was like, she thought she wanted to go do stuff, but it was very flirty. And I was really happy when she started settling into who she was, because she was one of my favorite companions by the end. Not my most favorite, #Donna, but close.
Yeah, I remember watching, especially Time of Angels, and thinking like, oh, I think this is how Scott feels about Series 2 Rose.
Oh. Interesting.
Just like, I don't like this person, I don't think. But then, yeah, like Crystal Beth is right. Like, I think the story challenges Amy enough, genuinely, and she overcomes those challenges in such like a cool. And that by the end of this story, I'm always like, okay, cool. And then the ending is super weird with the kissing and whatnot. And it's kind of the part of this era of the show that's aged the least well. And yeah, and it again, like now that it's like, oh, that's Karen Gillan and like that's Matt Smith. It's arguably more awkward now than it was in 2000.
It's true.
Yeah, it is so weird, especially because they were like hanging out for a little bit, and she also really likes Rory, or loves him. I guess is probably a nicer way to say that.
It just feels very written.
Yeah. Like this is what's supposed to happen. This is what girls do. When they
I feel like Karen Gillan's doing her best to make it work.
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
and
of course.
Figure out like what kind of horrible person would do this.
And of course, sorry.
It's funny though because I remember watching this when it was airing and being like, why would she just run away the night before her wedding? And then I had to plan my own wedding, and now I completely understand. So watching it now, I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel that. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, but not running away to go make out with an alien.
No. I mean, he is very attractive, but like, I would hope that I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird, and it really doesn't amount to much going into the rest of the season. I think really quickly the show kind of figures out like, oh, cool, yeah, Doctor goes here, Rory goes here, and he goes here, and we'll milk this for 3 more years.
Yeah. Because I remember when Amy's Choice came out, and then that was like this is where this character is at emotionally, and then we'll go from there. But these first couple episodes are like everything's in limbo.
Yeah. It's it's funny, we were just talking about in last week in school reunion, we were talking about how Rose reacts when the Doctor offers Mickey a spot on the TARDIS, and she's all just like kind of pouty or whatever, and that's sort of what her reaction is going to be to Rory, being on the TARDIS for like in the beginning of this, and it's interesting how that doesn't bother me as much as the Rose one did. And I don't know why that's the case, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is about this that doesn't bother me as much as
maybe it's subconscious. Maybe in like kindergarten, like a girl that looked like Oi, Corelli.
I was thinking a lot about school reunion when I was watching this too, because we have like the whole River Song Amy Pond thing going on. 2
of the Doctor's women interacting with each other.
But this is way more, which is surprising because usually Moffat, but I
I got it. Yeah.
I don't know. I like how cool and like interested Amy is.
Like she really quickly kind of there's this really cool scene on the beach where again like a teenage daughter, she sort of walks ahead of the Doctor and starts trailing River instead of him. Because she's like, oh, I think you might be the cooler grown up.
She's like shipping them like
yeah. Oh, so I do have okay, all right, number 1, before we get off this Karen Gillan train, is Karen Gillan the most successful companion Doctor Who has ever had?
Maybe, I mean, I definitely can't think of another, certainly in the modern era, Doctor Who who's about to be in like 2 big, on the poster of like 2 big like franchise movies, you know? But I'm to be honest, like I'm impressed with both of them. I mean, I remember watching this episode and, this era of the show and being like, God, I love both of these people so much. And now I don't even think Amy Pond is Karen Gillan's like best character anymore.
No. No.
I like her more than the character as an actress now, which is, I didn't know that until watching this story this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's not unexpected, but it's like a cool little like
Yeah.
she's in Jumanji.
She's in Jumanji.
Oh man. I'm
And it looks
excited.
fun. It looks
I'm
like it's gonna be
excited to
fun.
see it, even though Jumanji is supposed to be one of the scariest movies ever created, and they're making it really funny. These poor kids today don't actually know that Jumanji is supposed to be terrifying.
Right?
Yeah.
They will never learn.
I literally couldn't. I literally didn't leave my couch because of the spider part. I couldn't.
Oh man.
Oh no!
I love that movie.
God, it's
Watch it all
such
the
a good
time.
movie, and I wish that they named Jumanji not Jumanji. I wish they just gave that movie a different name because it looks like it's gonna be really funny, but that's not what Jumanji is. Jumanji's scary. You get sucked into a video game till you're old, and then you come out and you only know how to wipe with banana leaves. Ugh. I have thoughts on Jumanji.
I mean, that's. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, what
Jumanji's
if
pretty
what,
funny.
Well, yeah, Jumanji's
Jumanji's on like Jumanji's on like the same level as Jurassic Park, I guess, probably.
The cool thing about Jumanji is it could get really funny and it could get really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of in the same way that like I never thought I would compare these two movies, but like it was so much fun to watch that it almost made it less scary. I don't know, and that might sound kind of weird, but Jumanji, I do remember as a kid, the scary stuff registering. The funny stuff was almost like a relief. Like, oh, thank God! Like, Robin Williams is doing something kind of goofy.
So does River know who Amy is in this?
I don't think Moffat knows.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Oh my gosh, that was a better response than I could even half think of. It's true. I don't think he knew either.
It's like when you watch Gossip Girl now. You can't do it.
Yeah. He was not
makes-
Gossip Girl. He just
It makes the person who is Gossip Girl look like a full on like
sociopath.
Yeah. So
Well, but that's the big reveal, isn't it? Is that he was like a sociopath the whole time? I mean,
no, I'm messed up, guys. I'm sorry. I should have told you that
Oh
earlier.
my god.
yeah. I am so damaged.
I disassociate a lot.
A lot. I mean, I sign off with like XOXO, and I call myself Gossip Girl. I'm a man.
I surprise myself.
Yeah.
Did you see what Gossip Girl posted? How did she know we got coffee? How did she know we went when we got coffee?
So
Oh my god.
anyway, Amy's Gossip Girl.
Yeah, Amy's Gossip Girl.
And yeah, so I don't know. Like I was watching this, like trying to figure it out, and I was like, no, I mean, River should know that Amy is her mom, and she just like this cool is like she just this chill about it, or
Well, she's so kind of not in a disrespectful way or a mean way, but she is a little dismissive of Amy in the first scenes of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Like she's like, oh, it's another one of these guys. Okay, whatever. And then by the end of Time of Angel, she's like, oh no, this is a person worth. But she definitely doesn't pay any kind of particular attention to her.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Moffat loves little like, what am I hinting at? Like he wouldn't do that. Like he wouldn't do that every 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
And she cares for her. Like I think River's really patient with her too, because when Amy's trying to figure out if there was two recordings on the video, and she yells to River, and River just answers right away. She's not upset about it. She's not annoyed, because even the way Amy asks, I would be like, oh my God, little girl, leave me alone. We're doing adult things here. But the way she's just matter of fact, and she's the first one to run over there with the doctor and try to get her out and talks the most sense about that. And I think there's a caring towards her too, and a caring on a different level too of, oh, you're going to fall in love with the doctor too. And that's going to suck.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if Moffat knew and he didn't, because if he did know, he would have set up something in 11th Hour where what's her face was there or something. the
the lady,
Uh-huh.
Rivers previous regeneration.
Oh, her.
Oh,
That was Oh my god.
Melanie?
Mel,
Melanie.
Yeah.
right?
Mel's.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Mel's. Yeah. Mel's would be like in that town or whatever
Mhm.
because they were like it was like the three. They were like a trio.
Right.
So.
Oh man, let's kill Hitler.
Ooh,
Yeah.
It's a good
What
one.
what a trip that was.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there one day.
You know, I'm aware that there are episodes of this show where I know I'm very critical of the Matt Smith Moffat combo era, and I got to admit, now that the next era is coming to an end, I really have been able to look at this era of the show as being unlike anything that's come before or after, and kind of able to appreciate it, even for its faults.
Yeah.
It has just sort of become a part of Who canon now. Like,
yeah, I mean, he did it.
Yeah, like I'm staring at this this screen of my Amazon Prime where I watched these episodes, and I'm just like looking at this image of the three of them sitting on the bench on in Amy's Choice, and I'm just like looking at that, and I was looking at that, and I'm just thinking, oh, that's the Moffat era. And I was like, oh right, that's like a thing now.
Yeah.
Like there's a Moffat
like,
era.
That's crazy.
And Amy's outfit. I mean, I literally remember like friends cosplaying as Amy in this costume. You know?
Yeah. It is a very specific look, the way that the Russell T Davies era had a look, and the way that oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? John Nathan Turner's era has like kind of a look,
Right.
and it's so interesting how these showrunners have really just sort of put a stamp. And I really do, when you're in it, it feels like they go on forever. But I do like that these showrunner eras are like, 4 to 10 years. I really kind of do, because it, when you look back at the history of the show and you're like, oh yeah, that was the John Nathan Turner, period. And
well, it's difficult to. This feels so unlike everything going on with like our brains now in 2017. But some things take time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and for a writer to have 4 or 5 years to like kind of make a little saga,
Right.
which it's worth it.
Like I don't like the one Douglas Adams era season
Right.
of Doctor Who.
Yeah, me neither.
But
Mhm.
but if he had been on longer, I would have been curious to see like what would a regeneration story written by Douglas Adams be
Mhm.
like?
Yeah.
What
Oh my god!
would,
Yeah, like just philosophically, what would that?
yeah,
be like?
what would a doctor that he created look like? And we're never going to get the chance because he was only on the show for a year.
Right.
And it wasn't a particularly great year because he had a lot of problems behind the scenes. But yeah, it's interesting, like looking back at all of these eras, and now like the Moffat era is one of those eras. Like it's going to be over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In like,
Mhm.
what is that? 17 days
Oh
or
my
something
God.
like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
and now we're also excited for the Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I haven't watched any Capaldi, and I already can't wait to watch after him.
My God.
Capaldi's so good.
Yeah, Crystal, you're when you have time and you're like in a Doctor Who mood, oh man, the Capaldi era, it's good
That's
stuff.
great.
Oh.
He's like a grandpa.
It'll be a fun binge.
I see. The thing is that I get so worried about it because of how I felt, like I said earlier in this episode, how I felt about Matt Smith coming. And I don't have enough energy to hate anyone, and I feel like I'm going to, but I'm glad that you guys say I won't.
Yeah, no. He does. I mean, he definitely there will be.
He
stuff
gets
that-
better.
Yeah, he definitely gets better as he goes along. But there's still always stuff like from his first episode. There's stuff to like about him right away.
Oh, good.
And
Yeah,
then
I gotta.
It just keeps getting better.
Yeah, it's just so. In retrospect, it's brave how decidedly unlike 10 or 11 he is from the get go.
Yeah.
That's
It's like,
good,
look, I'm not gonna do any of that. The scene at the end of Flesh and Stone would never even get written with 12.
Right. He would literally just stop her and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, just it just wouldn't even happen. But so getting back to the story at hand, one thing that I do want to point out is like, okay, so when I'm watching a 2-part of something, there is nothing in the world that I love more than a fist pump cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like tragic cliffhangers are great and all. I love Empire Strikes Back, but there's something about a fist pump cliffhanger where you just like the episode ends and you're just like, yeah, you just, oh God, it's so good.
Man, do
the
you
cliffhanger
remember?
is so good in this.
Do you remember that image of the Doctor holding up a gun
Yes.
when it was in like the promo and people were freaking out?
Yeah, I remember.
Because I remember like
I love
that
it.
monologue he does at the end of the first part was in all of the promotional material leading up to it. And it's still so good. Like, even though I know it word for word, it's still so good. And it's so so indicative of what Matt Smith's Doctor is, like even from like the get-go and what he grew into.
Right.
Be.
And it's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The Pandora.
You're right.
Yeah.
I love
Like,
that.
On top of everything else, like it's just an awesome badass Doctor moment.
No,
And then on top
this
of
is-
all of that, it's also a foreshadowing of the season finale.
This is an outstanding series of the show.
Yeah.
This is my
It
favorite
is.
Matt Smith season, for sure.
Oh yeah.
After I
And-
got
and-
over him not being the 10th, I thought it was great.
I think my favorite era is the first half of season 6 because that was like peak Doctor
Oh
Who
that
fandom
was
for me.
crazy.
That was
Yeah.
when they got the numbers back.
But yeah.
Right. That was just like I was obsessing with this show at a level that I had never obsessed with any show ever. So that's my favorite era, but yeah, this is definitely the best like full season without a doubt. Of the Moffat era. But anyway, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good story. The second half I think we haven't really talked a lot about, but
Well,
you know, gravity tricks, that's fun.
it
playing
really
with
doesn't
gravity.
stand on its own very well. I really do view this as like the
Yeah.
rest of Time of Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. The Doctor from the finale popping up
Yeah.
from the Doctor from the Big Bang.
Do you remember the
popping up
internet
and
like
talking
going
to-
crazy before we knew that was like confirmed and everyone was like, look, he's wearing the different suspenders, and like there was this whole like crazy conspiracy thing happening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that. That
was the best.
I love conspiracy theories, and people are like, oh no, it's the same.
That was really good. And it's interesting because I mean I assume that Moffat had already written Pandorica Opens and Big Bang. If like when he like
Well, check the math.
I can't imagine that he wrote that little scene just like just sort of like vaguely knowing what the finale was going to be. That would be
It always makes me wonder
Weird.
when someone mentions something specific in what they wrote, if they did just write it and at the end they were like, all right, what can we draw from now? And they go and rewatch what they wrote and they were like, ah, yes, this tiny little thing I didn't even realize I wrote. And then they write something off of that. I could see that happening with this. He was like, I ran out of ideas. Quick, let me go back and see if I said something odd.
Thanks, past Moffat. You're welcome.
I like that he answers himself. Too.
Like through time.
Yeah. So you know what I do like about the second half, and I mean, the second half is fine. I like all the stuff with Amy counting and having to keep her eyes shut and all that. That's pretty good. But the thing that I really like about this episode is that the angels are the threat, but then the crack shows up and it's a bigger threat.
Right.
Like to the point
Crack
where
is a bigger threat.
to the point where the angels aren't they're like Cass said, they're not really scary in Flesh and Stone.
Yeah.
And it's because like the things that are scary, that are like actually creepy, are the things like the soldiers for like being erased from existence.
Yeah.
Like that conversation that she has with that soldier where she's like, what
it's
about
so
all
great,
these people?
yeah.
And he's just like, what? It's always just been you and me. And she's like, no, what? No, it hasn't. Like
He's
that's
so
really
good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moffat is just the master at letting the audience know when something is wrong.
Yeah. And doing it through showing it and not talking about it through exposition.
Mhm.
We don't need to see them go into the light and be like, oh, were they forgotten? Just the dialogue is they're able to show it through that, which is perfect.
You know what? He always puts you with the person. Like he always, like whether it's Sally Sparrow or Amy, it's always like from the POV of the person being affected, so you can feel their fear of Amy being like, "Oh my God, this person truly doesn't remember any of them."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. So I like that. I like that the crack becomes the bigger threat, and then the angels are just like, "Hey, save us from the crack." Like, I just think that's I don't know, an interesting way to play this part too. But I could see why past cast would feel that this was all very Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. The angels have such an indifferent relationship to the Doctor compared to like the Cybermen or the Daleks.
Yeah.
You kind of get the feeling that they don't like, the Daleks and the Cybermen, like kind of the Doctor is like their Satan. Like, they like he's like their Antichrist, their Doombringer. But like you don't really get a lot of emotion with the angels. They're just they're an infestation.
Yeah, I mean, you get no emotions with the angels. They're statues.
Yeah, they look angry.
They do look very angry.
Well, they do laugh.
Or sad.
They do laugh in like an evil, sadistic kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if the Daleks could laugh, that would be amazing.
Oh God. It'd be unsettling.
Well, that one crazy Dalek in
that's right. The Asylum.
season 4 finale is
Oh right, yeah.
Journey's End. What is that? What is that episode called?
Parting of the Ways?
No, that's
No.
Season 4.
Season 4. Yeah, Journey's End.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Journey's End. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyway, the wacky Dalek.
Is it Dalek Sec or
It's like
Dalek
a-
Khan? I don't remember.
I
don't remember which Dalek.
It's been too long since I watched that.
Listeners, let us know which Dalek was it. Who was the goofy Dalek?
Yeah, somebody will say. Anyway, is that all we got?
I'm good if you guys are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know so much. It's just, I've been like sitting here just like looking at my microphone, listening to you guys. Like, this is great.
Oh, I did want to like shout out to Murray Gold again because like
Oh
the
my
music,
gosh, yes.
like oh man, there's something about the music for this season of Matt Smith too, where it's just like knocked out of the park.
Oh yeah.
His Doctor theme is just incredible.
Oh, it's so good.
But I forgot to mention this last week. Last week I talked about the news with the cameras that they're using for next season.
Tell Crystal Beth.
Yeah. So like the new season is going to be shot on like cinema cameras.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Because they want every episode to look like you could play it on the big screen and it would just look like a movie. But the other thing that I found out that was also announced at the same time, the next Doctor Who story that we're covering, what is it? Twice Upon a Time. Yeah. Twice Upon a Time will be Murray Gold's final Doctor Who story.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. He's been on it since 2005.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
They really should like make some kind of montage of his work. Like
like
A
a
medley.
soundtrack.
Like, I don't know. Just I mean, like, I'm sorry. Like at the end of the episode, you know, it'd be really cool to see, see and hear like a medley of like 10's theme and 11's theme, and Clara's theme.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even know what. Oh my gosh, I have so many questions now. Because he's been like the one constant, and now everything is thrown into flux, and I'm questioning all of my existence.
You get like Junkie XL.
Like, what is it? What is it going to
Junkie
sound?
XL.
Jesus.
My God.
But that would, oh my God, just the theme would be great.
What?
Also, this theme has no chill. This theme is like THX level.
Oh,
like,
yeah, totally.
Not subtle.
Man, what is that going to sound
I love
like?
this theme. I think this might be my favorite Doctor Who theme.
That is tough.
Oh,
Is this
see, it was
rhythm.
so hard. I don't like change. I don't like it. And when they changed it, I was like, I can't do it. I can't like this. I can't. I physically can't. But watching this for you guys, because I obviously wanted to rewatch it to make sure I was, caught up with everything. I was like drumming with my hands to it. And I was like, oh, I think I like this one. I just have to get out of my head and stop, I just want everything to be the same. Creature of habit and patterns, and when it's changed, it confuses me, but it is very good.
I think there's enough of 12 to where you kind of get that comfort by the middle of it.
Yeah.
To where I remember we were all really surprised at how emotional the idea of saying goodbye to 12 became as it got closer, or as it's getting closer.
Yeah. It's it's the next episode we're gonna cover is the end of 12 and Murray Gold.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
I'm going to cry.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like,
And
just
Moffat,
think about
right?
like those, and Moffat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
We'll see how I feel about that after we watch the episode.
I like how Nick's like trying to be all like respectful and be like, "Come on, you guys, do a Doctor Who podcast." Jesus, get it together.
Not Murray. It's
But-
like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer is trying to like lie to Marge, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the hospital. Lenny's sick." And Marge's like, "Not Lenny, not Lenny." Like she's never mentioned her before.
I'm just thinking about like watching Capaldi regenerate and Murray Gold's score playing over
my
that
God.
moment.
Oh.
And then
Stephen
just
Moffat
knowing
behind them all.
that we're never gonna get them ever
Oh,
again.
man.
Yeah.
And then
So-
transform into Jodie Whittaker and whoever. Oh my God! Do you think there'll be a little bit of like her theme?
Have they announced a
Well, no,
composer?
because I don't think they have a new composer yet.
They just don't
start
have
hearing
music
Sufjan
in the
Stevens.
next episodes. Like the next season, there's just no music at all.
Yeah, can you imagine like her first moment like underscored just by silence? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
it'd be weird.
The opposite of 12 and 11, where just like stuff's
Right.
exploding.
It'd be I don't know. What do you guys think? What could be like a cool way to score the new season of Doctor Who? Because we've been in whimsical territory for so long.
Yeah.
I'd be hesitant to change that, but it would be kind of cool to go like almost like a throwback kind of thing, like
Trent
a
Reznor,
Stranger
Atticus
Things-
Ross. Yeah.
like a
Oh,
Stranger
man.
Things sort of
Like electronica
Definitely.
vibe?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like something with a constant beat.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I just got really into the idea now that you said that about quiet cast. Like I just love the idea of 13 or 12 regenerating into 13 like in a meadow
Oh my gosh.
or like somewhere in nature.
Or in space
Like-
where it's the most quiet.
Yeah, the most quiet. Like that image of her when she's walking over that hill is actually her like taking
Or
her
like the
steps.
regeneration, instead of it being this like epic crazy thing where they're spread out and they're going through, cellular regeneration, it's like just a slow fade into the next person. Where they're like, oh no, I think I got the hang of it now. Just relax and let it happen.
Yeah, like the way a monk dies.
It's just gonna be Tennant's regeneration where he was alone was so specific to him and his journey that I just wonder, like, is Capaldi gonna be alone when he regenerates? I mean,
right.
It's sort of it's like he must, like, that's got to be what it is, because like Pearl Mackie, like, he's not getting, there's no continuation of a companion or anything, so it seems like Moffat is setting up the baton, exchange, to be a fresh everything. But
are there any rules to him regenerating in the company of the first Doctor?
Well, he could, but I mean, the first Doctor has to go regenerate himself. Right. Because that's what the whole story is about. Is like they're both refusing to regenerate, and they have to, like, accept death.
Be a lady. Do it, but be a lady.
Oh, it's funny every time.
All right,
but I don't know. I'm excited to watch it, but I am embarrassed for my future self, who is going to be just like weeping like a small child at my at my girlfriend's brother's house in Wisconsin, watching Doctor Who.
Just wait till they're asleep. Do what I do.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but I don't watch things on my laptop like you do.
Oh, I always watch the Christmas special on TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have a home theater in the basement that I'm gonna.
The basement. That's
gonna
take over.
Basement. I want one of those.
All right. Well,
thanks for coming over, Crystal Beth.
Oh my gosh! Thanks. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
You should watch 12.
I know.
Honestly, like, that's enough of a reason for us to, like, go over them again.
Yeah.
I know.
I should do it.
To go over them with Crystal Beth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You go over them with me, like, right after I see them, because I would have so many things to say.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I will be texting you guys like while I'm watching it. I'll be like, yo, what? This is crazy. But yeah.
Clara gets like so much cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thank God.
Yeah, she does.
Because oh my gosh. That was one of the reasons I stopped watching the season right before Capaldi.
No, yeah.
Because I was like,
it's like when you hang out with someone with a different friend group and you suddenly are like, oh wait, I think I actually like this person. I just didn't like who you were like in that group.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I'm watching the show and I was like, this isn't your show. This isn't about you. Because everything was about her. I was like, this is about the Doctor. And you're a side piece. And then, okay, so I'm glad that she's going to be more interesting.
Yeah, she's like a real person.
Yeah, instead of like a plot
Capaldi
device.
Era. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And she was
he doesn't
so
ever
sweet,
refer to her as the
so
impossible
cute.
girl again.
Oh, they stopped that?
Yeah, they stopped that.
It's like the Doctor's like, so what are you about just like as a person? Like absent of me. And Claire's like, I'm a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, that's nice. Teachers are great.
Yeah, they start to like interact on that level more.
Yeah.
So I guess
As
it's the
opposed to-
Doctor's fault.
He gets
that I
a
don't
job
like her.
at the school that she works at.
It's not like Eleven staring at her from like, what are you? You're a puzzle, and I gotta fix you.
You're impossible.
You're impossible.
Anyway. Gaz is like, I have to rewatch all that crap again. Don't I?
I mean, that's also the reason why I stopped. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's like 7 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of it.
It just feels like
it feels
2
like a
years.
millennium. I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, because the reason is that she's introduced an episode, then she's gone for like half a season, then she's in the Christmas special, then there was a year.
Oh, true.
And then the other half season started. But like the reality is she's only in like 8 episodes with Matt Smith. Like, it's not a lot.
I remember watching Bells of St. John and being like, this doesn't even make sense, but I want my money back.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, well. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Crystal.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Next time we talk about the 11th Doctor, it'll be the Vampires of Venice.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Which-
yeah.
I love
I'm
that
so-
one.
Such a good one.
So pumped. That's
With
awesome.
Arthur Darvill,
Yes.
captain of the Wave Rider.
It's true. All right. Well, Crystal, plug your stuff.
Plug my stuff. Well, if you want to follow me online on social media, I am the Crystal Beth on everything. And that's also my email if you want to email me. I don't know why you would want to. But if you did, if you were like, hey, I want to send an email, thecrystalbeth@gmail. And if you want to listen to any of my podcasts, you can do that on iTunes. You can look for The Fifth Element, which is my Movies by Minutes podcast, and Unlimited Lives Radio, which is a video game podcast hosted by a bunch of comedians in New York City. And we have fun, and we stream live on Twitch every Thursday at 6 p.m. at twitch.tv/Unlimited Lives Radio. And you can Google my name. I don't know why you'd do that either.
It's a fun name.
Yeah, it's like Crystal Meth, but Beth.
All right. Well, thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Crystal.
Endings are fun.